Hello, brothers and sisters. I know over all the years of me being a Jehovah's Witness, the governing body has discouraged people from looking at what other people are saying online. And I know that presently there's a lot of people online that are saying a lot of things, and some of them can be perceived as being truthful, but I'm no longer part of the group. I came in contact with the Jewish people and started learning what they know about God. And their knowledge is absolutely incredible. I mean, if we're all fair with one another, we wouldn't even know anything about God had the Jewish people not recorded it. So, because of my exposure to the Jewish people is why I'm no longer a Jehovah's Witness. Well, it's interesting the way that it came about, because, I had always learned from the society that when you're ill, you draw closer to God, and God is close to those that are ill, which is in alignment with Jewish thought. That is, not everything. Not everything the Jehovah's Witnesses say. As a matter of fact, a great deal of what they say is not in alignment with God, or the understanding that the Jewish people have of God, which is absolutely incredible. If you would be amazed. So again, and I'm trying to make sure that I bring this up in the various videos that I make, that there are many people online that have been hurt or feel they've been hurt by the way they've been handled. A lot of people similar to me in the sense that they grew up in it. And but my goal with these videos is not to criticize. I mean, I can't honestly say that everything that they said to me wasn't of some benefit. I mean, even now, as I've learned more Jewish thought, having the reference that I do have from my time in the organization has been of benefit. Of course, as things have opened up, the clarity has increased, and I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in now to be able to bring what I'm trying to bring to the table had I not been a Jehovah's Witness for as long as I have been, which was 60 years. So at some point in the future, I'm going to post an image. It'll be me holding up a watchtower in a wake and in a little green suit. So I must have been, I don't know, 6, 7. So I kind of like it to be known that the intent that I'm doing is not to criticize or try to pick fault. That I don't feel that does any good. In fact, it wouldn't really be the proper approach. So, unfortunately, there are so many now on the internet that have been deeply hurt, or they were of a sort that was hurt. And some of it, what they say, is true. And in fact, there's a lot of truth in many of the words, but it doesn't help. I mean, typically to just criticize, right? Typically, I mean, why are they standing up to say the things they're saying? Well, in their way, they're trying to help, and that's admirable that they are. Of course, as a ex-Jehovah's Witness of 60 years, we were always told to stay away from stuff like that. And, and I suspect, in all fairness, that there probably are times where people are just bringing up dead bones, right? They're digging up dead bones, and it doesn't really benefit anyone to listen to somebody gripe and complain about what someone else is doing, even if it's legitimate. But it still doesn't solve the fundamental problem, because conceivably we are all brothers and sisters, and we need to all learn how to move forward. That's God's desire for us, right? So just purely criticizing another person for where they make a mistake is not going to bear any fruit at all, really. I mean, yes, it can serve as a warning, perhaps, to those that see things from a certain perspective, yes. But my goal with these videos is to encourage the governing body, or what is called the governing body, Brother Loesch and Lett and Moore and Hurd and Splain and Jackson and Johnson and, Cook and who knows, I can't remember all their names. I used to know them. And I know some people out there are going to say, well, those guys have really got their hooks into you, right? They might feel that way because of maybe being soft or easy on them, where others have been severely feel very hurt. But and some might feel that because I don't take a hard stance against them, that they have some sort of active control over me, right? But that's not, no, they have no control over me. The only thing that controls me is God. So, anytime you put yourself out in public, you're open to scrutiny. And of course, with an organization like that, there's going to be issues that come up that are going to bring attention to certain issues that will be highly emotional. And not saying that some of those aren't justified, but to dwell on it does not serve any practical benefit other than to continue causing damage where there really doesn't need to be any damage. Or maybe there does need to be damage, because you're all aware of the scripture where God says, I create the good and I create the calamity. So is it God himself? I mean, could we actually say that God is the one that has caused things to unfold in such a way that we are where we're at today because he causes the calamity? Had I not become sick, I might have stayed a Jehovah's Witness the rest of my life, right? So, if God causes a calamity, becoming sick is a calamity. I mean, I'm not dead. You know, I'm ill, but, you know, God will decide how long I live. I've got a lung or a congestive heart or some problem. So, I try not to think about it and put my focus on God. So, though it's undeniable. So, my intent, and I really, is first off, is not to make it about me. That you know, so, of course, is that about me, even in trying to make it not about me, right? But I think that anytime we put ourselves, into something, the tendency is to swing towards it. It becomes about you, about the individual. But the reason why I'm doing this is I'm trying to open up for the governing body insights that perhaps they're either unwilling to go there. I'll tell you what it is, and what my gut feeling tells me. I think they know more than they're telling everyone. But how do I put this? In the world today, there is a very deep-rooted construct of Jesus. And, what is it? A third of the world believe in Jesus. And as a Jehovah's Witness, they believe in Jesus too. But over the years of watching very carefully, and I'm not going to mention now who, there is a good chance that governing body knows that what they're doing is actually not necessarily in harmony with what the scripture says. Now, that sounds odd, right? And maybe I'm being way too, maybe I'm just crazy about this. I don't know. You decide for yourself. But how do you handle a large group of people that have a belief in Jesus, but yet, now let's run this as a hypothetical. Let's say you have 9 million witnesses and they all believe in Jesus, but you, as this governing body, through your own diligent study, have already come to the understanding that maybe that story is not checking out quite like everyone thinks. Now, I'm not trying to insult anybody, but just as general knowledge, and I suspect if there's any witnesses listening to this, that you already know that the Jewish people utterly reject that story. Of course, in that story is the idea that they're wrong, and they did this to God's son, and yada yada yada. So that's the story, right? That's the story we all, as a witness, we believe in. But this is the hypothetical. What if the governing body doesn't actually believe that? What if they, through all of their diligent research and work, have already come to the conclusion that the story of Jesus Christ is not true. Now, we're running this as a hypothetical. How do you handle 9 million people that believe in Jesus? Do you just come out and go, hey, we've been wrong. The whole thing about Jesus is not true. We've come to the conclusion that that's not true. The Jews are right, and we've been wrong since the beginning of the organization. No, you're not going to say that, because what that's going to do, if they truly care about people, that would disillusion everyone, or most. They would become quite angry, and there would be problems. Everybody would be adversely affected. Okay? But as a witness, and if you are a witness and you're listening to this, you're also aware that they've been talking about new information, new scrolls, new name, right? This is all stuff they talk about. But you don't find a lot on that in the Bible at all. But yet they seem to persist in that. Where are they getting that? Well, the Jewish people, and this will maybe make sense in a minute, have a vast library of knowledge that has come down. And I know for a fact that that governing body has dabbled in the Jewish knowledge. This is how they're coming up with things that you don't directly find in the Bible. So I'm not only talking to any witnesses that might be listening, but I'm talking to you, the governing body. If this hypothetical actually is true, which I suspect there are governing body members now that already know that the story of Jesus is untrue. But if they were to tell the brothers and sisters that, they're going to open up a can of worms, and they're going to have it's going to hurt the brothers and sisters if they don't do it right. Remember, they already have a long track history of, to change one little thing can take 10 years, right? So any adjustments and understanding, they're quite cautious, very cautious. Why is that? Why are they so cautious? And is that a good thing? Well, it could be a good thing. But and it also could be that they might be afraid to tell the brothers and sisters what they truly know. Now, this is a bit of a speculation or a hypothetical, but it's not completely unfounded or unwarranted, because there are things that have occurred and things that have been said that might indicate this. So, what I'm trying to do here is encourage the governing body that it's now the time to reevaluate and restructure how you operate. Because if you don't, you're going to continue to bleed membership. And you're going to continue, undoubtedly, to come under increasing fire and scrutiny. Already you're seeing it as the governing. If I was running an organization like that, and I started to see, and this is how God works, I'm beginning to have exponential problems that are occurring everywhere, and many things are going wrong simultaneously. That is a clear indicator that God is not in complete harmony with whatever you're doing. That's how God works, and you learn that from the Jewish people. God is not just off somewhere. God is present and involved in every decision, everything that's occurring. He is not only actuating it, he is involved in it. Now, when it says don't necessarily teach that, they teach that God could be off on another planet somewhere, sipping on a Mai Tai, and the Earth and everything that's going on in it would be continue on autopilot. Many of the things they teach are so far away from Jewish thought and Jewish understanding of God that it's just like, how could they be this wrong? Unless they know it and they don't want to hurt anybody, because they can't tell them what they really think. Now, I might be way too nice, but I think there's something there. There's something in there. So, if this video actually makes it to a governing body member, you're gonna have to do this now. You're the one. You're the guys that go, well, Jehovah will tell us when, right? Well, what do you want him to do? Want him to write you a letter? If you begin to see that your organization is falling apart slowly, you're shedding members, you're not growing, God is displeased in some way. Now, and it's fair to say, according to Jewish thought, that the closer you are to him, his activity will become more manifest specifically to you. In other words, if you're shedding kingdom halls, shedding members, not getting any more people, it's not that you're a bunch of people committing fornication or adultery, and clearly the governing body's conduct is not horrible, but the issue is if they don't adjust to the understanding that is correct, then God undoubtedly cannot continue to constantly, actively be wholly supportive. So yes, you're teaching people to be moral, and I'm sure that he appreciates that, right? You're teaching people to be honest. You're teaching people to not commit adultery, all the things that God would expect us to do, and you're teaching them that, yes. But you're also teaching them things that don't align with things that he has clearly stated that are to be, and many of those things forever. You cannot go against his words and expect to get away scot-free. No, he doesn't strike people down. If you're making improvements and you're doing good, he's not vindictive. But is he going to continue indefinitely to actively support thought that's incorrect. Maybe not. Because he adjusts everyone. I mean, isn't that the whole story in the Hebrew Bible, that every time the Jews got out of line, God corrected them? Or they were corrected by the nations, right? There was some form of correction that came into the Jewish people. And that's how God works. And Jehovah's Witnesses are no exception. So granted, there are many good things. It is now time to let go of false doctrines and embrace the Jewish people, embrace their knowledge, and then you, Jehovah's Witnesses, can begin to work in harmony with the Jewish people on the mission that they were given. God gave that mission to them. Now, I refuse to believe that Brother Loesch and Brother Lett and Brother Splain and Brother Cook and Brother Moore and Brother Hurd and Brother Johnson and Brother Jackson and all. I cannot believe that you men do not have enough intellectual prowess to understand that when God spoke those words, he was speaking to the Jewish people. Now, but what do we have happening? We have, in a separate attached book, this New Testament document, a story from a man. And in this story are essentially everything that God said has been replaced with something new and better. That's the idea of the New Testament, right? Now, my friends, governing body, how can that be? And I've said this in other videos. Brother Splain, God specifically said his words do not return to him unfulfilled. God specifically said that the Jewish people would be priests in the nations. God specifically said to do certain activities forever. Right? He said it. Now, do you really believe he doesn't mean that? Now, when you adopt this account from a guy that said he was walking down the road and he had a vision of God, or Jesus talked to him on the road. I mean, I cannot believe you don't already know this. And so I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. So you need to have more faith. You need to step it up. You need to have more faith that if you need to meet with the Lavavish, you need to meet with Chabad, you need to meet with Hasidic Jews. Those are, I think, there are many loyal and faithful Jews, but there are some differences, and they're coming together slowly now too. So, I guarantee you this. If you do it and you follow the direction, the brothers and sisters are not going to leave, and they're going to become more encouraged, and they're going to learn things about God they had no idea. Yet it's time for you to shed the false doctrine, and don't wait. You're waiting to do this for some period of time that you've got in your mind is actually inhibiting, to some extent, more better and good things to occur. If you could only adjust yourself to the proper thinking now and work with the Jewish people, you could be even more instrumental in bringing in what you call the new system. Now, I could sit here and point out things talks that have been given. Maybe I'll use one example. Brother Let, you gave a talk. That it's coming up. People are asking questions about Israel, right? See, there's your first indicator. Why are those people asking questions about Israel? Why? Okay, but in your talk, you tried to run a fine line between the ancient nation of Israel and the present nation of Israel. And there were mistakes in your talk because I follow Israel relatively closely. And I know how they conduct themselves and what they do on the battlefield. And in your talk, you brought out the way that the ancient nation of Israel conducted themselves in war. But then you paralleled it, that the modern day nation of Israel essentially is no different than any other nation, that they don't do that. But that's untrue. They do those things. How much time, Brother Led, have you spent in front of, this is going to sound corny, but YouTube, and bother to learn about what the Jewish people are saying? Have you spent any time at all doing that? Because I've spent over 8 years now learning and listening to what they have to say. And I guarantee you this, Brother Let, everything you said in that talk pertaining to the modern nation of Israel was untrue. Now also, you need to know this, Brother Let. What did God say in Genesis about, if you bless my people, I'll bless you. But if you curse my people, I'll curse you. God is quite serious about those people. So we can come along and listen to this Paul that's full of hatred towards the Jewish people. And, I've never necessarily heard the governing body, I'm switching gears here, lay the claim that they're the suffering servant. But who has really suffered over all these years? Who? Now you know this. It's been the Jewish people. Just look at the history. Now, so you have a statement from God, my words do not return to me unfulfilled. You will be the priest of the nations. Right? And this thing about them being a suffering servant. I mean, what you believe in, what you're teaching people is that the Jews are out. God has rejected them. And you're teaching people this new theology. But for that to be true, then everything else that God said was forever would have to be false. And God does not change his mind. When he says that this or that is forever, he means that. So, you don't have to be afraid of making this transition. Just do what's right. Now, I'm certainly here and available. And I'm not going to lay any claim about anything other than that there are individuals that are now speaking to the world, Jewish individuals, that are bringing accurate information. Remember the thing? This means everlasting life, taking in accurate knowledge. What is that? That's a New Testament scripture, I believe, right? That's amazing, isn't it? But that doesn't mean that those writings were inspired, because I'll guarantee you that somewhere in the Hebrew Bible, there's a parallel to that scripture. You know, the Hebrew, when you really start looking at the stuff written in the New Testament, you'll see an interesting thing. You can find those very things in the Old Testament, but they've been restructured into this thing, that a story that's not lining up with what God has clearly stated all over the Hebrew Bible. Now, I know you've worked really hard, and well, look over here, look over here, look over there. But, you know, I used to, in the Bible, you know, you kind of jump all over the place. But that was something that always stood out to me a little bit, that, you know, turn to this scripture, turn to that scripture, turn to this scripture, turn to that scripture, right? In the meetings, turn here, go here, go here, go, all over the Bible. But when you read those very scriptures that are being used to try to support the construct that's being said, but when you turn around and read those scriptures in context, they do not indicate what they were trying to be used for. In other words, when you read every scripture in context, the context itself is saying that scripture has nothing to do with what's been presented. You know, like they pierced him, right? Now, everybody jumps on that because it sounds like a Jesus thing. But if you read that Hebrew scripture in context with that story, you'll find that it has nothing to do with Jesus. So it's like you're in a condition of great fragmentation. It's like you're fragmented. You're jumping all over the Bible and not necessarily focusing in on it with the detail that's needed to actually understand what God is saying. So, you've got to start listening to the Jewish people. To save your organization, you need to listen to them. You need to support God's chosen people, the people that would be the priests of the nations. It will not be Jehovah's Witnesses that are going to be the priests of the nations. It will be the Jewish people. And the things that they talk about are so powerful. There is nothing in Christian theology that even comes close. It's a lie. And it's part of Christendom. And I do not want you guys to, out of respect for what you've done, to fall for this. I mean, when I told the elders at the local Kingdom Hall what was going on, you know, I just couldn't help but see them as so sincere and so strangely innocent. I mean, I didn't have a mean streak. I didn't get any impression it was horrible. I mean, that's what I mean. The majority of these people are so kind and loving. Now, I know a lot of people, you know, I'm not going to make any friends with that statement, because many people are very upset. And that's easy to do, right? You know, I'm undoubtedly will be getting a divorce from my wife because I can't talk any sense into her. She is so committed, and the walls and the tower that you've built around her, this fortress, is destroying our marriage and many other people's marriages and families. You know, these things that you're putting into people's minds are horrible. and there will be accountability for that. So you need to start making these adjustments as soon as possible. Please listen. How about Rabbi Ginsburg? Just listen to him. Listen to any that teach the Tanya. Listen to those that talk about the Sefer Yisra, or the Kabbalah, or the Gemara, the Talmud. I know you're on record saying, I've heard you say it, that the Talmud's uninspired, but you call it the most incredible work, uninspired. But, you know, there are accounts where you can actually see the inspiration in a Talmud. They exist, as God is my witness. In that Talmud are things that are clearly inspired, and they can be proven if you can only hear. So why God? God is probably undoubtedly now trying to open and incline your ear, and you need to listen to him. You need to do that. And you know, part of what you put in me was a sense of urgency. You know, you've just done so well at being misguided. It's a travesty, and it's not your fault. But if God begins to reveal things to you and you're seeing them, they go into your mind, and you have that aha moment where you've come to see it. If you retain this thing that you've been doing, it will only result undoubtedly in just trouble, all troubles for you, more troubles. So it's early. The Messianic process has begun, and many incredible things are occurring, and it's going to continue to increase. And I want to see you guys there. I want to see you grow and come to love God even more than you presently do. You already love him. I'm sure you do. You don't spend your whole life doing what you're doing if you don't have a love for God. That's clear. But we have to be careful we don't fall into a trap where we allow our current thinking, our present thinking, to become so dominant that we have lost any ability to see. Unless the hypothetical is correct and you know, and you're just hesitant. You know, this idea that you have that a message is going to go out and it's going to be important to listen to it because it could result in you saving your life. Where'd you get that? Right? Somewhere in Isaiah somewhere. But do you know the Jewish people talk about that too? And that message will go out to everyone in the world. Did you know that? So, you know, that's not unique to you. It isn't like that's not already known. Why is it the Jewish people know about that if they're so wrong? I mean, are they wrong on everything? Is that what it is? They're just utterly wrong on everything. Is that what it is? What about the scripture that says that God himself kept 7,000 loyal men for his own purposes? Do you know who those men are? Do you know where they are? Is it in our day? Is it in the past days? Are there any on earth right now? So please, you guys, I'd like to help you. I would really I would at least like to steer you to examples. Then you can make your own you can make your own determination where you're going to go. But if any one of you could sit and listen without being full of judgment or, I don't want to hear that, right? That attitude. And you could just listen. I guarantee you that God will open it up for you and you will see it and you'll realize where you've gone south. So I hope that helps. And again, it's only out of love. I feel like the priest of Midian, when it took Moses, 40 years living in his house. Did you see what happened there? Moses come in there, and there's so many fascinating accounts on how that is, things that can be discerned from that account. I heard a beautiful talk on that where, the idea of a speech impediment. There are many, there's a variety of information. But if you only knew how well the Hebrew language opens up the Bible into an incredible thing. You begin to see things you didn't even have a clue were in there, and they're everywhere. But Moses, there are accounts that part of his impediment is that he spoke at such a high spiritual level that no one could understand anything he said. So after all those years of living, with the priest of Midian and their conversations, that it helped Moses come lower in the sense be able to explain these spiritual constructs that were too difficult for people to grasp. And while speaking with the priest of Midian, he was elevated up out, because he knew all of the idolatries, all the false worships. And so it actually, in effect, elevated the priest of Midian, and it also helped Moses with his impediment, brought him where he could then speak in a way that would help him connect with the people, where they could understand these higher spiritual constructs. So, that's a talk, and there is evidence to support that, but there are other things too. But I'm going to tell you that every Hebrew letter, the shape, even the size and the arrangement, every bit of it means something. So I don't have faith in God. Be confident that God will do what's right for you and your organization if you turn to Him and begin to let Him instruct you. It really is, you guys. It's really time for you to let God instruct you in the way He wants to instruct you. And I'll certainly continue to do what I can, but I'm just I'm nothing. I'm mainly doing this out of respect for what you did for me, and I'll pray for you. I try to pray for you. Right now, my mother's dying, so a lot of my prayers are there. I mean, even thoughts on death are. I'll tell you what the Jewish people say is just smokes the Christian ideology. It's so much more powerful, and you really get to learn what's going on with God. And, you begin to see Him. There's a Jewish adage that goes, I think it's a Jewish adage, it's an adage, if that's the right way to describe it, a statement. It goes, if you don't see God everywhere, you don't see Him anywhere. So, I guarantee you, if you strive and do what I'm talking about, you will see it. You'll see him. He would be, I'm sure, and I don't speak for him, but I am sure he would be just elated to have a beautiful organization such as yours, the one that you have built, and he has helped you, turn to him for guidance and direction. And there's no way that will fail. There's no way. In fact, I suspect the organization would bloom and blossom in ways you can't even imagine. All because you turn to him and follow his words precisely, and not the words of a man that claims that God spoke to him. Anyway, I hope that helps you guys. And there's nothing I can do about all the ones that have been hurt. They're hurt and damaged, and but if you follow and do what you should be doing, God will resolve that. Okay, well, there you have it. I hope it reaches your hearts and reaches your, you open your ears, your minds, and your hearts, and take it in and ponder it. Take it up in prayer. Ask God. Ask him and see what he has to say about it in prayer. Alrighty. Bye-bye.